And we're back for wrestling, and we have two Canadians for a change in the final mark, and it's nice to see. It's the 84 kilograms, Danny Brown from the Guelph Wrestling Club in the red singlet, and Alex Brown, a Brock wrestler in the blue singlet. Alex is coached by Marty Calder and a former CIU champion, or CIS, which is Canadian University. And Danny Brown is a medalist at the Senior National Championships and a Canada Cup winner. Danny's a very accomplished Canadian wrestler. Unfortunately for him, he's been in the weight class with Daniel Agali, who has been a world champion and Olympic champion, so a little difficult to establish yourself on the international level when Daniel takes up the national spot for international competition, Mark. But he is a very accomplished wrestler. We haven't seen a lot from Alex Brown, but this match should show exactly what Alex has to offer, because he's out there against a very tough opponent in Danny in red.
And Danny's very lucky, fortunate to be wrestling with Zoltan Hinyadi or whatever. He's wrestling up a weight class here, but I'm sure his experience is going to show, as we've talked to earlier about this.
Yeah, a number of wrestlers are wrestling up a weight class this week because they go to the to the Canada Cup Championships, which are in Guelph next week. And the Canada Cup has been going on for more than 20 years and a very prestigious championship. So these two tournaments complement each other well, but many of the athletes remain down a weight class. We're less than a minute to go in the first round, 0-0 against these two Canadian wrestlers in the Commonwealth Championships. Good to see them here, because we certainly have seen our share of Indian wrestlers. Really not much happening. They're feeling each other out and approaching inside of 30 seconds, and we may see our first 0-0 tie in a match. In a round, and they're near the edge, but no one stepped out, so there are no points. Certainly Alex was trying to get Danny to step out of bounds so he'd yield a point, but he hasn't. And we're inside of 10 seconds at this point, and we may be approaching a 0-0 tie, and if that happens, the official will flip a coin and determine which wrestler takes a leg. And Alex made an attempt at a throw, but it's a missed throw, and therefore no points. His opponent didn't do anything to prevent the throw. So now we flip a toss a coin, and Mark, depending on how it comes up, it looks as though the blue wrestler gets to take a leg, and the blue wrestler must score within 30 seconds, or red wins the round. And if blue scores, he wins, and he secures the leg, and the referee blows the whistle immediately. And it appears as though he scores the standard, predictable 1 point. This is one of the more controversial aspects of wrestling at this point in the rule changes. This gives us a chance to address that, Mark. What are your feelings about the establishment of the winner of that match by the tossing of the coin and securing of the leg?
Well, I really don't think it was shown who was really the dominant wrestler out there. I know they didn't show much out there, but I think Danny's a little more experienced, and it was, didn't really get to see much technique because he just kind of bowled him out of the zone there.
Right, and Danny certainly doesn't want another 0-0 tie, because if that should happen and Alex should win the coin toss, he's likely to score another point and win the match. I think Alex would be happy to let that happen, and so it's up to the pressure really is on Danny Brown to score some points here during the 2-minute period rather than wait for overtime. And I suppose that's one good thing about it. But there have been a lot of changes in the international scoring system. That's one of them that's perhaps a little controversial, and I think one that FILA may be addressing how they determine a winner in a 0-0 round. But
what's unfortunate here is that the person that won the flip doesn't always get the chance to take the leg. The coin's flipped again instead of a fair shake of, okay, you've got my leg for the first round, then
yes,
the opposite guy gets the leg for the second round.
Yeah, and that's not the way it is. That may be one of the first changes they make to make it fair. However, far be it from us to dictate to FILA, and the reasoning is not always crystal clear to me. And we're now at the 1 minute mark, 1 minute remaining, and again a 0-0 tie. Obviously, they're fairly well balanced. These well matched. These wrestlers. I think Danny would really be well advised to pick up the pace a little bit and maybe vary the positions, because to me that would be to his advantage.
Well, we're going to see in a few matches from now what Greco does to address the coin toss or whatever after a minute. If there's no action, one person goes in parterre, and maybe needs to be addressed somewhere along the line too, of more of a neutral position that you can defend a little bit easier.
We now have 30 seconds to go in the first match, second round, I'm sorry. The first round being owned by Alex Brown in the blue singlet. and Danny Brown trying to catch up, really. He's 1 round down. You need to win 2 out of 3 rounds in order to win a wrestling match. Unless, of course, you pin your opponent, and the match is over regardless of the number of rounds which have been won by either of the wrestlers.
Alex has really shown a lot of good inside control here, and he's a bit of a bull here, and
well, he's approaching a possibility of winning another coin toss. Let's see how it happens. Now, this is where you think, Mark, that perhaps Red should get the leg because he didn't get the opportunity in the first round, but they're going to flip a coin again. And it comes up blue, I think. It's going to roll that way. Oh, my gosh, it's rolling, and it looks blue. Now, blue has won the coin toss, and should blue win the point here, which is very predictable that he will, then he's really won the match based on a coin toss, not on wrestling contest, and I think that's entirely flawed.
But a bit of it's Danny's fault for not being a little more aggressive, trying to take control of the match. He's let the coin toss
True,
take
but
over.
if we went with the system that you suggested,
Yeah.
perhaps he'd have the leg now and he'd have his opportunity. But as we know, as every time, blue wins the point here. He wins it on a coin toss, and nothing taking away from Alex Brown. He managed the match very well. He used the rule system to his advantage, and is a deserving champion of the Commonwealth Wrestling tournament here in London. Danny Brown just didn't quite have the luck going his way, but Alex takes advantage. Alex Brown, Brock University, wins the Commonwealth Wrestling Championships at the 84 kilogram weight class.